And away we go. It is the Nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. I'm Chad Brendel. He's Aaron Smith. And our sponsors, as always, our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get it delivered to your house pretty much inside the 275 loop. It might be a little bit more the farther away you are, but you'll get your Galactic, and it'll be delicious. That much I can promise. And get some sauce.
You'd be missing out if you didn't.
Yeah. I should have. There's a couple things today I should have probably tried some sauce on, but I didn't. Oh, well. I'll survive. I'll try soon. Let's get started, Aaron.
Chad.
News of the day. He's Aaron Smith. I'm Chad Brendel.
We did that.
News of the day here on March 2nd. We are into March. Cincinnati defensive line coach Greg Scruggs reportedly going to the New York Jets. Originally reported by Pete Thamel. Frustrated by that one because we talked about it last night off the air, but I didn't have it nailed down, and that's why Pete gets paid by ESPN and I get paid by me. Not thrilled with how the breaking that story went, but it's okay. Scruggs headed to the Jets to be the assistant defensive line coach. A pretty big loss for Cincinnati. Greg Scruggs has been an important part of this program over the last 4 seasons.
Yeah,
as director of player development and then also as defensive line coach. But this one stings a little bit less. Sorry. This one stings a little bit less with the recent addition of Walt Stewart to the staff, right? Like, you've got a guy who played on the defensive line here at Cincinnati. His expertise is coaching the defensive line to this point in his career. And now he gets to come to Cincinnati. And instead of coaching snipers, I would be pretty surprised if we don't get to practice on Saturday for the first spring practice and see Walt Stewart with the defensive line. So it's frustrating to see basically half of the coaching staff turnover from last season, but you also have a guy in place that you should feel pretty confident with as a immediate and impactful next man up in this specific situation.
One of the things you brought up on Twitter today that I found to be probably the most telling thing about what's happening with the coaching staff here of the last, this last coaching cycle. What schools are all these guys going to, or what level, for that matter, are these guys going to? Like, you're losing guys to Ohio State, to LSU, to the NFL. Like, this has become a hotbed at this point. I don't think there's any other way to say it. A hotbed for coaching personnel. And of course, we have a pretty rich history at this point of coaching at Cincinnati, but it's only getting better. And that's crazy.
When you look at last year, you lose Marcus Freeman to Notre Dame. You lost Mike Mickens to Notre Dame 2 years ago. You lose Brian Mason to Notre Dame. They have officially deemed Cincinnati their farm school, their farm system. What can you do? Perry Eliano to Ohio State, Mike Denbrock to LSU, Greg Scruggs now reportedly to the NFL. People are going to want to come work here because you're going to get a raise to come work here. And then if you are good at your job, you're going to get a big raise to go somewhere else at the top of the sport. So
also Luke takes care of his guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, how about the Scruggs double dip? He got the Mexico trip and the NFL job. Kudos to him.
And for those of you who were in the dark like I was, I had no idea that Scruggs played for the Jets. So it makes sense. The fit makes sense.
I don't know that he actually played a game, but like he had a couple workouts with the Jets, and like had some connection to the Jets. But I think the bigger connection was Robert Saleh, the coach of the Jets, was in Seattle from 2011 to 2013. Greg Scruggs in Seattle 2012 to 2014. So they had a 2-year crossover where Saleh was the defensive, like a quality control assistant for the Seahawks. And I'm guessing that's where he got to know Greg Scruggs. So you couple Scruggs having a little bit of a connection with the Jets from his playing days, going to a couple workouts and having some ties there, and then his connection to the head coach. Right. And it makes it look, man, if I was coaching, I'd 1,000% want to coach in the NFL over college.
Agreed. There's
you just
less
coach.
Right.
You just coach.
So much less you have to worry about.
You just coach. Like you got your guys, you coach your guys. You're not recruiting. You're not constantly like, driving through the backwoods of Alabama, trying to find a kid that can help you. You just show up at the office, you coach, and you go home. Like outside of those, 20 Sundays that you're busy a year, it's not a whole lot. Like it's a pretty good existence in terms of being a coach. So no ill will towards Greg. He was a great guy. I thought he did a great job here with this defensive line. Specifically his work in developing Myjai Sanders, who he deserves a ton of credit for. But that's how this shit goes. the guys that are good, everybody wants. And Greg Scruggs was good, and it appears he is on the move. I also would say I don't mind a reset as the roster is resetting a little. As you're entering phase 2 of the Luke Fickell era, I don't mind that you're doing it with some new faces. Now we got to find out if those new faces are good, mm-hmm. are good fits, are in line with what Luke Fickell envisions for the program. I don't think they'd be here if they weren't. So there is some margin for error in that, but kind of like Dave said on the BCJ pod tonight, has there been a hire yet where we feel like Luke missed?
If there was, I don't remember it.
I mean, like I said on the podcast, like I would maybe Chad Wilt because he was only here a year. He popped in and he popped out right away, and that's what brought Greg Scruggs into that position to begin with.
Right.
Chad Wilt's now the defensive coordinator in Indiana. Like he's continued. That's a guy that can't stay anywhere. Like you talk about ants in your pants. Chad Wilt, like he's got like January 1st X'd on his calendar. Like, ooh, that's new job season. Like if he stays somewhere 2 years, it's been impressive for that guy. But I digress. Who's been a bad hire? Mike Brown's been really, really good. The wide receiver room has been fantastic. We saw Darren Page do a great job with the running back room last year. Mm-hmm. Mike Mickens was awesome at cornerback. Replaced, when he came in after that first year. And then Perry Eliano. It's not like, say what you will about Mike Tressel as defensive coordinator, and I know a lot of people
have said some things.
Yeah, people didn't like it because they were really used to Marcus, and Tressel's got a different style. But if you go back, Aaron, and look at linebackers, his position that he coached, there's nothing bad you can say about Joel DeBlanco, Darian Beavers, and the duo of Deshaun Pace and Ty Van Fossen.
Well, it's kind of like the people who try and say bad things about the job that Denbrock did while he was here.
Right.
It was only the best.
And they're a top 10 offense, right?
Only the best offense that Cincinnati's ever had, arguably.
Right.
The winningest quarterback in the history of the program.
Right. Yeah. Mike Denbrock was a terrible offensive coordinator.
Terrible is the word I would use. Sure. Okay.
As a terrible offensive coordinator at the University of Cincinnati?
Zach Taylor?
Zach Taylor. But yeah, I mean, it's a process. And I think if you're going to here's what I would say. At this late in the game, spring practice starts Saturday, and this is Wednesday. Something like this would typically catch you with your pants down. And you would be scrambling to have a defensive line coach in place by Saturday. I'm going to guess Walt Stewart's running that room when we get to practice on Saturday.
Well, I mean, it'd be quick to have a turnaround if you were bringing somebody else in, unless you already knew that this was going down.
I don't think they knew. My understanding is, I'm sure they had an inkling as it started happening.
Right.
I don't think they hired Walt Stewart thinking
they'd be losing Greg Scruggs.
Going to get an NFL job in 6 weeks. Like that, I don't think that's how it went down. But you prepare, right? You try to put yourself in the best situation possible. Now they have a guy that was coaching. Walt Stewart essentially was coaching like 4 guys at the sniper dollar position, right? You move him down to coach the D-line. You say, hey, Mike Tressel, these 4 guys are also now like on your watch until we figure it out.
Think he can handle it.
I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be okay. So that's the big football news of the day. Basketball, we talked about Houston enough last night. Tomorrow night, 7:00 in Dallas, SMU. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I got some Brent in me.
Okay.
I think they got a shot to win this game.
Well, they definitely hit. It's better than what 2.2% or whatever it was on the BPI. Yeah. The spread's only 7.5. I don't know. I think that's certainly different.
SMU is going to be desperate. If they are on the bubble. You can't be any more on the bubble than SMU is.
Right.
The projections I've seen with them in the field have them in the play-in game. Or games, plural, because there's 2 of them. Mm-hmm. They cannot lose to Cincinnati and feel comfortable about the NCAA tournament. So this is a critical game for them at home. It's not their senior night, strangely enough. They have another home game Saturday, I believe.
Well, that's because Cincinnati's like one of the only programs not playing this weekend. So
right, dumb. Although we'll see, maybe it helps in the conference tournament that they get a weekend.
They could certainly use the time off.
Yes,
to regroup, regardless of the outcome of this game.
If they can manage to contain Kendrick Davis, even remotely close to how they did in the first game, they got a chance to win this game. Now, the reality is Kendrick Davis averages 20 points a game, 19.3 points a game, whatever, for a reason. Because he's a really good basketball player. And holding him to under 10 points again, going to be very difficult. But for some reason, they've had SMU's number.
Oddly enough,
the toughness and physicality have given SMU, who is an offensive-centric team, some problems. If they can make some shots, they don't even have to they don't have to go crazy. But if they can make some shots and get up into the upper 60s, lower 70s, they can win this game. The problem is they haven't seen the upper 60s or lower 70s for a long time.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I don't feel terrible about this.
Well,
I think there's a shot.
It's a last-ditch effort. I would think that the Bearcats are going to be playing for coach in this one. I mean, you're clearly reeling, but they gave it everything they had against Houston.
Sure.
And I don't see that being the last big hurrah for this team. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't think that that's the way that this team is, if I'm being honest.
No, that's fair.
And
this team has showed incredible fight, Aaron. Like that,
Yeah.
of all their shortcomings, of all the deficiencies, the struggles on offense and the dip on defense over the past month, this team has not stopped playing their ass off.
Agreed.
They're going to play their ass off in Dallas. How long can they play their ass off? I guess that's the question.
Remains to be seen. Sure. So I don't know. Obviously, you have the conference tournament coming up, so there would be another opportunity for this team to really kind of try and put it into a different gear with especially finally having some time off and being able to practice and being able to potentially make some adjustments and see what they got. But at this point, we're at the end of the road here, and we pretty much know what this team is, regardless of.
We've come to the end of the road.
So I don't know.
Am I picking them to win? No.
Yeah, gun to your head. Money on the table. I don't know that you're gonna put it on the Bearcats, but I imagine the payout would be better for the Bearcats if you put money on the Bearcats. And they
lost 4 in a row. They haven't played well. They did play well, or as well as they have in a while at Houston against the best team in the league.
Right.
SMU's the second best team in the league.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, the record says they're the second best team in the league.
Okay.
The standings say SMU is the second best team in the league.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I don't know why. I just got a feeling.
There's your standings.
Yeah. So we were way off on this last night or the night before, whenever we talked about seeding for the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Because it goes on, but where Cincinnati's at, East Carolina and Wichita State have not played the full slate of games, will not play the full slate of games. For some reason, it was more important to get Cincinnati to squeeze in 2 games against the best 2 teams in the fucking league.
It's because it's ratings, because those games were on ESPN. Even if it was it was still on ESPN.
While Wichita State, going into tonight, had only played 13 games, conference games, out of 18.
Crazy.
East Carolina, at least they're only 1 behind, right? Like, okay. Mad respect, only 1 behind. Wichita State's played 13 conference games. But there's a chance either or Wichita State or East Carolina could jump Cincinnati if Cincinnati loses to SMU. If Cincinnati wins, they're the 7 seed. If they lose, there's a possibility they get the 7 seed. There's a possibility they get the 8 seed. We'll have to see how all that mumbo jumbo plays out. You would obviously prefer the 7 because the 7 gets you in the 7-10 game, and then you play the 2 seed. If you're that 8-9 game, if you win, you're going to have to play Houston.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have a whole lot more. You?
I think we're good here.
At least we get a 7:00 game. That's nice.
Yeah.
Busy day on campus tomorrow. Luke Fickell press conference at noon. We're going to get a couple players after that. We're going to get to talk to Coach Googs from the baseball team after that as well.
After that walk-off win against
the Buckeyes
and Ohio State.
And so that's exciting. It's going to be an exciting day tomorrow, and hopefully a Bearcat win on Thursday night against SMU in Moody. So that'll do it for tonight. We will see you same time, same Galactic place, same Galactic channel. I think I like that. Same Galactic time, same Galactic place, same Galactic channel. It's the nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!